Hoes might not like it, but I bet that nigga love it. Wanna lick it, wanna taste it, wanna suck it. I hear a lot of capping from the back row, flexing from the flat bro. Whole lot of noise from hoes, ain't seen 100 bands close. Hoes couldn't see me, even magnified glass close. And know I ain't Doja, but they still do what I say so. I got niggas texting back to back, ain't even put no pussy on them. Bitches on a fake page, mad I took they nigga from them.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Kiana Lachey, and we talk here about my infertility journey. And today we're going to talk about week 7 of my pregnancy. If you are new, please comment, like, and subscribe, and add my channel. And so today, this one is not going to be a very good update, and I'm talking to you guys while I'm doing my makeup. I'm actually in my makeup vanity, so I will be looking at the camera, but most of the time I'll be looking here, to do my makeup. So let's get into it. So week 7, let's talk about it. This wasn't a good week for me. By the time I upload this, I'll be going into week 8. Week 7 has not been a very good week for me, only due to the fact that one of my babies has stopped. Their heartbeat has stopped. So give me 1 second here. What we were doing was the doctors had found a 3rd sac, but they didn't see a baby in it. So they had me come back in to see if it was just a gestational sac or if the 3rd sac would be a triplet, because sometimes they find, when you transfer babies, multiple, like I did, I transferred 2 eggs, the eggs can actually split. And 1 egg split and made a 3rd sac. So I went back in for the ultrasound, and I don't know who the lady was. She was different. She wasn't like the normal lady that I normally see that does my ultrasounds. She wasn't the normal sonographer. She was a new stenographer, and she came in with another lady. And I know you guys, I'm on complete bed rest, but I still do my makeup. I still get cute, and I just lay down and watch TV all day. So don't judge me. I'm on 100% bed rest, but it's hard being on bed rest and not being able to work and do anything is really hard. But this keeps me busy, doing my makeup, cleaning my house. I clean as much as I possibly can. But let me get back on the subject. So as she's doing my ultrasound, she's really not saying much to me. She's not saying if she sees any babies, anything. So I'm starting to get worried. And all of you pregnant women or women that have went through IVF, or even mothers that just had kids naturally, once you find out you're pregnant, you're attached to your child, and you normally go into mommy mode. You want to make sure your babies are okay. So while I'm able to utilize, getting ultrasounds weekly until they release me to my regular OBGYN, that's what I've been doing to make sure the babies were fine. And so she looks around, and then she finally does her little measurements, and she turns the camera around, the monitor around to me. And I'm going to insert a clip. This is where I'm going to insert the clip.
See it?
Yeah, I see it. Isn't it this one in there, right?
Yes.
Okay, I got scared. I seen something on the side.
That's the yolk sac.
Okay.
So, over here in the baby B sac,
okay,
it looks like it's not developing. It's not growing.
No.
Because, see, this is a little sac. It should be this size. And see, it's only this size like it was last week.
Oh, no.
So I don't see it growing over there. I still have to do my measurements, and I don't see that 3rd sac. I just see those 2. So let me do some measurements right here on this one.
Okay.
Then I'll show you again, okay?
Okay. I'll just let you see what she says. All right. So as you can see, she didn't stay on the fact that, you know, baby A was alive and breathing. She stayed on the fact that baby B, she said he stopped developing. It stopped developing is what she said. And she said that it didn't have a heart rate. But she said so many things that were inconsistent. I didn't believe her. First she said baby B was measuring 5 weeks and 5 days or something like that. I'm 7 weeks pregnant, and I go weekly to monitoring to check on my baby. So I knew that was incorrect because I go weekly. So I'm like, this doesn't seem right. Why would the baby be measuring so far behind when I just went to the urgent care on June 3rd and the baby was measuring 6 weeks and 3 days? So she said, well, let me try again. Let me look in here again. I'm going to look around and I'm going to go ahead and measure again, and I'll let you know what I find. So from that point, she goes back in with the monitor and she looks around, and she said the baby was measuring 6 weeks. And baby A was measuring, I think 7 weeks exactly, and baby B was measuring 6 weeks according to her. So at that point, she told me that she's so sorry, you know. She just kept saying, I'm so sorry, you know. So you're telling me my baby is not growing anymore, my baby's gone. And I was having a really hard time understanding that because I just went to urgent care on the 3rd and my appointment was on the 8th. So keep in mind, urgent care was on the 3rd and my regular doctor's appointment with the fertility clinic was on the 8th. So this is within a matter of days that not only are you telling me my baby stopped growing, but you're telling me that the inconsistencies just didn't add up. So I wanted a second opinion. I wanted to, you know, seek a second opinion. So I made an appointment with my normal sonographer, which wouldn't have been but a couple of days away. And by the time I have this uploaded, it would have been yesterday that I made the appointment with my regular sonographer. But I ended up going to urgent care anyways because I just couldn't wait. I was really shooken up bad. I was just crying and crying. And because of the negative mind frame she put me in, I didn't even acknowledge that my baby A was still there and baby A was still fighting, and it is still fighting, not was. And it just put me in a negative place because she just focused on the negative. And this is what I mean by negativity. A lot of people don't realize that they're being negative, and they don't realize what they're passing on. And I see it a lot of time on social media. You might have some friends that, you know, you think are hecka cool, and, you know, they're friends you grew up with or people you just met. But if you ever just take a look at their comments or what they post, you know, it's next. A lot of it's negative. If you always talk about death and murders or sadness and things of sadness, and I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? I want to see happy stuff. I want to smile. Sometimes that can take you into a place of negativity, and it's called a transfer of emotion. You can be in a very good mood, and then all of a sudden, one of your friends transfers their emotions onto you and messes up your mood. And when you're pregnant, you're super emotional because you have all of these hormones flowing through your body, and you're already like really super emotional. So you don't really need to focus on anything negative. And a lot of people don't realize that's what they're doing it because that's who they are. You know, they don't realize that's what they're doing. They're just like, okay, you know, this is just natural to me. But really what they're spreading is negativity. You don't always have to talk about the bad, you know, and that's what that doctor did to me. She just spoke on negative And it put me into a negative mindset to where I didn't even focus on the fact that I have a baby thriving. I was so saddened that baby C, well, I wasn't really sad about baby C. I won't say I was sad like that, because I knew that when they took the ultrasound picture, the sac, it didn't show anything but just a gestational sac. So I kind of figured that baby C was not growing. So I wasn't sad about baby C. And I honestly, not to be rude or anything like that, I wasn't ready for 3 kids. You know, if God gave me 3 kids, then that's just something I'd have to prepare for. But honestly, I just wasn't ready for 3 kids. And so whether baby C made it or not was God's plan. I wasn't going to be sad. I wasn't going to be mad or anything. It was just whatever happened with baby C, you know, that's God's plan. And so I just left it in God's hands. I'm not going to question him. I did that before. I felt really bad, and I questioned God's judgment when I lost the first baby that I did IVF with. So I wasn't doing that anymore, because what God wants to happen, I'm content that it will happen. And so when I went to the emergency room, I went to the urgent care. Sorry, not emergency room. I went to the urgent care for where I work at. And as soon as I got in there, I told them, of course, you know, what, I'm using this right now. I told them, of course, you know, what was going on and what the doctors were saying, and, you know, how I was feeling and things of that nature. And that I needed the babies to be checked to make sure everything was okay. And so that's the first thing they did. They put me in a room, and they realized that first off, I was dehydrated. So they gave me an IV to get me some nutrients, get the baby some nutrients. And they asked me how many babies I had, and I said 2, and I'm carrying a 3rd gestational sac. So they don't know if baby C is growing or if baby C is just going to be just a sac that eventually absorb into my body. And so once I told them that, they instantly took me back to the ultrasound room, and they did a really extensive ultrasound. And it was about a 45-minute ultrasound that they did because they wanted to make sure, you know. So they did the ultrasound, and after they were done doing the ultrasound, they, of course, at the urgent care, they don't give you like pictures and things of that nature. You can just see what they're doing, but they don't tell you anything until after the actual ultrasound is done. So after it was done, you know, the doctor waited for the results, and then they came in there and they gave me my paperwork. They seen both heartbeats. Both babies were measuring 6 weeks and 3 days at the time of the ultrasound. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rewind it. They were measuring, baby A was measuring 7 weeks, and baby B was measuring 6 weeks and 5 days. So baby B was still measuring behind. Sorry about that. But not that far behind. So it didn't concern me as much as the previous doctor told me. But again, I still had an appointment, you know, with my regular sonographer, because again, urgent care is not equipped to handle pregnancy. That is usually something that is done at a hospital or on a maternity, ward or labor ward or whatever you call it. So, like I said, it was a lot to deal with. It was a lot to go through. So I couldn't even be happy because they told me they seen both the heartbeats. I couldn't be, happy. I wanted to make sure with my regular sonographer, because I know that's what she does. That's her job. And her job is to, to do that, to make sure babies are okay. She's trained for that. So when I went to my regular sonographer, and She's very good at what she does, and she's very honest. I trust her word. So whatever she said at that point, that's what it was. And that was yesterday. So today I am 7 weeks and I believe 4 days. Like I said, I'm going into my 8th week of pregnancy. So I get there and I show her the video of the what the other sonographer said and how she talked to me, and the fact that this is what really bothered me the most, the fact that she had another person in the room as she was telling me bad news. She didn't ask me like, hey, I'm training this person, or, you know, is it okay if I bring this person in? I didn't know who that other person was. She just brought her in. And I noticed that when my regular sonographer got ready to do my ultrasound, she was bringing somebody in. So I guess they're either training people or I don't know. But I stopped her and I said, hey, can I speak to you privately? And I said, right now is not a good time. I would really like my ultrasound to be just you and me. I said, because if my baby is not breathing, I want to be able to, you know, grieve. I want to be able to share that with you. I don't want another person in the room right now. I'm not comfortable with another person being in the room. And she was like, that's fine, you know. She said, can I give you a hug? And I said, yes. And she gave me a hug. And we began the ultrasound. She didn't say anything right away. But, you know, I could tell something was wrong because the way she was looking at the camera. And, oh, Jesus, I just spilled some of this powder on me. I love Fenty. I have about 20 different foundations and 20 different powders, but out of all of them, besides this, I don't know what this is called. Besides this brand, NARS and Fenty is my favorite. But anyways, back to the subject. So she turned the camera around and she says, this is
okay. There's baby A.
Here's baby A.
You can barely see it, but that's the heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A little flutter, you see? Is that better?
Yeah.
You see a better angle there.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah? You see the two? Look, I'll show you.
Wow.
This little bright line and that little bright line is the heart, the two chambers.
Okay.
Look when it's, and you see it moving?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Perfect. And this little fun anatomy fact, you see this little black dot right there? Mm-hmm. That's the baby's head.
Okay.
That is called the rhombencephalon. That's the developing fetal brain. That's the first part you see of the brain is that little black dot.
Okay.
Looks good. And then baby B is here. This little line here.
Oh, poor baby. So what's going to happen? Is it going to have to stay in there or?
Mm-hmm. And baby A is just growing and thriving. Baby A's heartbeat is 144 beats per minute. And she just started talking about all positive, which put me in a positive space. And this is what I mean by positive. You know, when a person transfers their emotions onto you. She didn't even get into baby B right away because she didn't want me to be sad. So she started talking about fun facts about baby A's brain, and I'll put the clip in. And then she said, and here's baby B, this little bitty piece right here, and baby B is not growing. And she said there's no heartbeat. And she said, but I want you to focus on the fact that baby A is thriving and you have a live baby. You focus on what God has blessed you with, because he could have, you know, you could have not had any at all. And you're blessed. You still have one. Some ladies don't get that because it's hard to do, you know, IVF, and it's hard to go through that. You know, it's a very long process. It's expensive and it's just a lot. And if you have to do it, then, and if you've been through it, then you know. It's a really extensive process that, you know, one has to go through to get their baby. And you don't go, usually it takes a couple tries. You don't usually get pregnant right away. And so it's just a lot. The pregnancy is the meat and potatoes. That's your glory, because you've had your, you know, you've taken all your shots, you had your retrieval, your egg retrieval, they transferred the baby. So that part is, a lot of people think it's hard, but the hard part is getting through this first trimester. That's what I say. The hard part is getting through this first trimester. And so she asked me, did I want a picture of baby A and baby B? And I said yes. She said, just for closure. And I said yes. You know, I would like a picture of baby A and baby B. And she gave me pictures. And I will show them to you guys in just a second. And I got my closure. Yesterday was really hard, because I went from 2 babies and a possible third to 1 baby. Yesterday was really hard for me. I don't even know any other way of explaining it. It was really emotional, not just for myself, but for my fiance too, because she's trying to, you know, she's trying to make sure that I'm okay, you know, and also she's trying to be okay in the process, but she's not okay, you know. Once you find out that there's another child, once we find out that, you automatically start to get attached. And again, we were able to see baby B. We were able to see baby B heartbeat. We were able to see baby B growing with baby A from the very beginning. This is not something that they just found on the monitor and said, oh, we see a second sac. Baby B was there from the very beginning. From the very beginning, y'all. Baby B was there. So my baby is gone. And the crazy thing is, I asked him what's going to happen, you know, because baby B was in his own sac and baby A is in her own sac, and baby C never grew in, but baby C, if it would have grew in all the way in, baby C, it was in his own sac. So they were all fraternal. So that's the good thing about it, that they were fraternal, so that way, you know, it doesn't interfere with the baby's growth or development. And so what she told me was, because I asked her, are they gonna keep that baby in there, or what are they gonna do? You know, are you gonna let the baby, take the baby out? What's gonna happen? And she was like, we can't take the baby out. The baby is so small that it's going to either absorb back into your body, and pretty much that's what's going to happen. So I'm like, okay. And she said, or you might see a little bit of blood, you know, you might pass it and see a little bit of blood, but normally the baby absorbs back in your body. I haven't seen any blood. I haven't passed anything. So, you know, at this point, all I can do is just take it one step at a time and just pray that things go okay with baby A. I'm scared, y'all. I'm so in love with my babies. From the moment I seen them in my belly, that was it. You know, love at first sight. And of course, for those of you who really know me, you already know that I have experienced a loss with twins. But that experience was at 7 months pregnant. So it was really hard to deliver stillborn babies. Oh no. And then, so I have my reservations right now, but in the midst of it all, I know God is a miracle worker and our God is amazing. And for me to even conceive at 45 is a blessing in itself, because I'm older and it's harder on our bodies to you know, make babies and still be able to, you know, carry them and things of that nature. So it's a complete blessing to be able to even conceive and carry life in me. I had to let you guys know because some people were already following my my YouTube. And so a lot of people knew already that I was pregnant. But because I needed extra prayer on baby B, I did go ahead and I did reach out and I did let everyone know, like, hey, I'm pregnant, you know, and I would love to have your prayers. I wasn't going to announce it right away, but because I'm having issues, you know, it would be really awesome if you guys can keep me and my fiance and babies in prayer. And so I didn't want to do that because announcing your pregnancy early when there's still possibility that you can miscarry is going to be hard, because here you go explaining to people that you're having a child, and then you have to come back and explain to people that you lost a baby. And I just don't have it in me to do that. It's hard talking about it right now. This is a hard process. But the good thing is my blood pressure is very good. It's under control. I don't have high blood pressure. I still take a blood pressure pill because just to keep my blood pressure maintained. I have gained weight, but not a lot. Because my stomach started getting big fast, I think I'm like, because it was preparing for multiple babies, and my belly is big, but it's not as big as it was. I think a lot of it was bloating from the medications, because again, I still take shots. I still take a Lovenox shot in my belly and a Neupogen shot in my belly, and then at night I take a progesterone and oil shot in my butt at the top by your hips. So I still have medications that I'm taking. So I think a lot of it was bloat, and so my stomach looks a lot bigger than what it is because I'm bloated from the medicines. But one moment here, let me make sure my eyelash is on correctly. People ask me all the time, like, do I want to wear this color? Or do I want to wear my other color? Am I happy that I still have one? Yes, like, why wouldn't I be happy? You know, one was really the plan from the gate. And this is what I'm using for my lips. One is really the plan from the gate. We put, like I said before, we put 2 in because the doctor says that when you're older, sometimes, you know, when you put 1 in, the baby doesn't always attach. So I had a better chance at putting 2 in. Oh, that glue got in my eye. Hold on, you guys. So we went ahead and put 2 in. We didn't think they both would take. So that was our blessing from God. And not only did they both take, one split. And we could have had triplets. So we're grateful. I'm grateful that I got to carry baby B as long as I did. But what I will say is, give me one second. The first trimester is the hardest trimester because the first trimester, you're still subjected to miscarriage. And I mean, you're subjected to miscarriage all throughout the pregnancy, but the first trimester it's the one. One moment here. I'm looking for my highlighter. Where is it? Yeah, it was really hard. And it's still really hard right now, but I just have to keep my faith and put it in God's hands and leave it there. As you know, if I believe God is a miracle worker and he's gonna do what he's gonna do, then I have to let him do that. And I have to not worry, and I have to leave it in his hands. If I would have recorded yesterday, excuse me, I'm looking for my highlighter and I can't find it. And yeah, this is my belly. So as you can see, I still have a belly. It's not as big as it was, but it's still big. Where is it? Bear with me, you guys. If I would have recorded yesterday and I would have came on here and explained to you guys what was going on yesterday and how I felt, it would have been disastrous, because yesterday was very emotional for me and I could barely talk. I'm using this highlighter right here for my cheeks. Yesterday was hard. I could barely talk at all. And oh, that's pretty. All I did was cry. And then I realized that if I kept crying, baby A can feel that. And I still have a baby depending on me. So really, you know, I needed to stop crying and not just grieve baby B, but celebrate the fact that baby A is still here. She's still growing. She's still thriving. Sorry. I am trying to set my phone up in front of my makeup venue so I can finish with my finishing spray and all that. So that's what happened. So week 7 was a very hectic week because we lost baby B. And not only did we lose baby B, but we found out baby C was not viable, which we kind of already knew, but we lost baby B. So hard. And I know it's hard on anyone else that's out there going through this as well. I know other people are going through this and they're watching my journey, and I have other people that I work with that have been watching my journey and been rooting me on. This is what I have to think about. And this is what I keep thinking about, because this is what's keeping me going. The goal was one baby. The goal was to just have one child. So if we can get through this with a healthy baby, then mission complete. I really just sat here and beat my whole face just to sit in the house. Let me show y'all the finishing look. This is the finishing look. And I guess this is it. I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in with me and for being there to allow me to vent to you. Oh, 1 second. Camera's not steady. And for allowing me to just tell you what happened. Like I said, today is not a good it's not a good update, but baby A is growing, and I got to see her little umbilical cord, and she's really changed from being a small dot to being what she is now. One moment, y'all. I'm gonna show you guys something. I'll be right back. I was saying, I told you I was gonna show you guys something. So let's just look at how far baby B has came. Last ultrasound that I took. Look how little baby B is. And then this is baby A with the umbilical cord. So there's baby A again, and then there's baby A's heartbeat.
Hoes might not like it, but I bet that nigga love it. Wanna lick it, wanna taste it, wanna suck it. I hear a lot of capping from the back row, flexing from the flat bro. Whole lot of noise from hoes, I ain't seen 100 bands close. Hoes couldn't see me, even magnified glass close. And no, I ain't